to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast.
Okay, welcome back to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. This is episode number 86, coming at you a few hours later than usual. But if you follow us on Twitter or you're part of our Discord community, hopefully you got the heads up. If you're not, please subscribe to those. Get on there. That is our main channel of communication, keeping you, the WA family, us, the WA community, together, informed about what's going on and all the exciting announcements. When those come, the breaking news, it's going to come through those channels. So just preface by saying that. Secondly, we love you all for staying with us. We had a lot of positive feedback from the notice that we're running late. But that said, we're diving in here to another episode with another week gone in the war zone. And I got some thoughts on where we're at right now. But before I share those, before we dive into what really transpired this week, I'm going to turn to the 10-inch cowboy, the valiant co-host, and ask the cowboy, sir, how was your week this week in the Warzone?
Well, thank you again for that lively introduction. I had a week in the Warzone, yet another week, and it was a frustrating week. I think, honestly, I'm getting to a point where it's harder for me to find enjoyable experiences. Finding the good times of playing the game are getting thinner and thinner. I have to be honest. It's just the quality of players, and maybe it's because I play with people that are better than me, and I just get absolutely rolled every time I play, it feels like. But other than that, it was fun. Having 3 maps is obviously interesting. I didn't play a lot of quads this week. I feel like played a lot of Fortune's Keep trios, but it was a fun week nonetheless. I had a couple of victories here and there scattered out, probably thinner than usual, I would say, though. How was your week in the Warzone?
My week was, getting back in the saddle, kind of similar to you last week. Had a decent amount of time away from the Warzone. So this week made an effort later in the week as things settled down, thankfully, to get in there. And like you said, mostly running actually Fortune's Keep because we had a trio for whatever it was. And it's not like I was early on where I was really lamenting the game, hating it. I think we played 3 rounds, had 2 wins. But yeah, there's something like, it's almost like the old BB King song. Like the thrill is gone a little bit. I don't know what it is. I really feel like the meta is so stale. Like the stalest I think we've ever been in terms of a meta. Like it's just ongoing. There's 2 top tier guns. Everyone can have them. Everyone can run them. They don't require a ton of skill. And they fit these maps so well that if you're on the rooftops, you're getting beamed as fuck from the NZ41. If you're in the houses, you're getting wrecked by the Marco 5. So it's an interesting place we're at. I know they put in so much effort like weeks back into launching all this stuff with, what season are we in? Season 5? Season 4?
5? I'm not sure actually.
Don't even know what fucking season we're in, but they launched a lot of shit and I felt like, oh wow, they're really keeping on the pulse. They're not going to give up on this Warzone thing while we gear up for Modern Warfare 2, but it seems like maybe that was front loaded and now they're backing away because this week, our agenda is razor thin here. Normally, sometimes we have so much stuff we can't even get to it in a single hour-long plus episode, and today it's like I'm scratching through the internet trying to find crumbs, to bring forth to you all, the listeners, but there's really not much. So that's kind of where I'm at. Although I gotta say, when I get back on Rebirth, that shit's still fun, and we crank out wins like it's nobody's business. I know there's some differing opinions on Rebirth, specifically in our Discord, some heated arguments this week, which we like to see as long as they stay respectful. But that's kind of where I'm at. You gave kind of your general thoughts. Any response to my thoughts?
Well, I think, it's interesting to think about them top loading it and kind of, that's the wild thing is we have 3 maps right now. This isn't like a bare oasis of I don't know what to do. There's like a lot of variety, but it's funny. It's like people bitch and moan about the map situation as we have in the past and as we continue to do. We got 3 maps right now, but it is, as you say, it's totally overshadowed by 2 meta weapons, the NZ and the Marco, that are, if you don't have those, you're not playing the game. Like you really need both of those weapons to excel. And the people that are really playing well right now are really playing at such a high level. Doesn't matter what fucking map you're on, you're going to get spanked. And I've been getting spanked a lot lately, no matter where I go. So yeah, I mean, do you think that, I mean, that's an interesting point of conversation I hadn't really considered, is that because we're looking down the barrel of Modern Warfare 2, we're just entering into, I feel like, okay, this is really like, it's not past the horizon. You can see the little ship on the horizon, and we're pulling up to that bad boy. You know, we can't see the wake of the boat yet, but we can see that boat, you know? And I'm wondering, you're right, like they obviously have to be putting a lot of manpower. I mean, this is like Warzone, the free game that everyone is, you know, it's just whatever, culturally iconic, yada, yada, yada. Modern Warfare 2 is a moneymaker, and they have to be focusing their money, their eyes and all of their resources on that at the moment. I haven't thought about that, and that's probably true. That's why I was expecting the NZ to get nerfed like every day for the last 3 weeks. And it still is meta. You know what I mean? It's pretty wild.
And they've been issuing nerfs, but they're just so minor that it's not, you know, and I understand that. I don't think they should have just completely nerfed it out of control. I like this new approach to being gentle, but I still think that fucking dough ball needs some more massaging. Like, it ain't quite ready to go back into the oven or whatever it is. So
yeah.
The Marco too, especially like before all this Marco change, the SMG space was really interesting. Like, you could run so many different options. If you wanted the mobile stuff, you could go that. If you wanted the high TTK, you could go that. The Armaguerra, the Blixen was kind of standing tall, so that could have used, you know, a nudge. But I don't know where we're at. I feel like the community is dwindling too. It's obviously the hardcore folks that love the game still sticking around. But what about you amateurs? Are you checking out other games out there? Are you know, waiting in a holding pattern? And you talk about the ship is on the horizon. It's getting closer, but we still haven't really seen it yet. I believe from, you know, the pros that have followed Call of Duty releases year after year, they're predicting that August is where we're going to be getting some real gameplay footage, getting our teeth sunk into this game and what's coming. But for now, like, yeah, we got 3 maps and we got a stale ass meta, and that's pretty much where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, you have your finger on the community pulse a little harder than I do out at the ranch here. But let me ask you, are the winds of conversation amongst the fields of the community members, is it blowing in the direction of Modern Warfare right now? Or is Warzone still kind of the cream at the top of the conversation?
I would say, like, it's definitely not, like, at least a lot of the streamers I watch, I don't think any of them I watch now are purely dedicated Warzone. Like, they have it on a rotation now. They're playing other games, and we're in like a holding pattern. And it's like, to me, the ball right now is squarely in, you know, Activision, Call of Duty, all their whatever, Infinity Ward. It's in their court, and there's a lot of pressure building. Like, just this week, I saw Z Laner tweet out, you know, if Warzone 2 is cheeks or ass or whatever the cool lingo the kids use, he's like, I'm fucking not going to play it. I'm just going to stick with Valorant, which is another kind of hardcore game.
I thought it was Valorant.
Valorant, fucking goddamn it. You're probably right there. What was I saying the other day was there was the key, the diet, the paleo. But anyways.
Wow. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's interesting. They, you know, Z obviously got his start on Warzone, playing with Dr. Disrespect, became a kind of like a low-key, incredible player at Warzone. That was his thing. I mean, he's really good at the game. It's like unbelievable. He's like a professional Warzone player. And to hear him have these, he always was the positive guy, I felt like. Dr. Disrespect always loved to talk shit on the game, hated it, and was very vocal about it. Z was like the positive, like, come on, brother, I got you. Like, we can do this. The game is still in good shape. You just got to play it this way. But if Z's starting to be like, hey, I'm not into this, that's like, I don't understand how the company, how does Activision, how do these people not see that and be like, wow, we really need to like get these guys on board. We need to push this in the right direction. Like, It's an interesting conversation. I mean, when you're losing guys that are like your ardent supporters of the game, you gotta fucking look in the mirror and really slap yourself, have a cold cup of coffee, and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you compare it to it's like a sporting league almost. It's like, dude, if you got dudes in, the NBA or whatever looking at like the Drew League or whatever, like, hey, I'm going to walk, or what are this PGA motherfuckers walking away, like, you better get it together. But it's more so, yeah, it's not so much like where we're at now. I think they've kind of accepted this is Warzone, this is where it's at now. They're not super satisfied with it. I know, Z himself plays a ton of Apex, bounces around other games. They were even playing Fall Guys, I know, on stream. So, but it's, yeah, so much pressure because the most anticipated release, like, I mean, Warzone, I don't think was amped up when it first released. It was almost like a phenom that took over the world by storm. I think people were excited. Oh, a new Battle Royale. It's coming from Call of Duty. It's going to have all these features. I don't think we all expected it to be what it's become. But now, like, because of that success, it's like, James Cameron dropping the Terminator, to go back to that. Like, that was a huge success, but then you have the pressure to come back to do it again. You got T2, you got all the VFX, you got Arnold coming back, you got Robert Patrick, who is alive and well, going to be playing the T-1000.
Robert Patrick, our biggest fan.
You better fucking deliver on that shit. And so the bar has been raised, and I know the pressure is hot, and from what we've seen so far, like, we gotta see, they gotta deliver. It's interesting too, because it's like they can't just redo Warzone or people are gonna get bored, but they can't stray too far away from it. So I don't envy these guys. I like being in our spot where we just sit in front of a mic and fucking talk about it and don't really have any sense of real responsibility there.
Yeah, well, back to your James Cameron analogy. James Cameron, I believe, after T2 delivered a little movie called The Titanic. So he ended up following up very well and delivered big time. So, yeah, I don't know if we're going to get a Titanic comparatively with Warzone 2. I hope so. I mean, it's possible, but yeah, it's... I don't know. We don't need to stray too deep into the negativeness. We're still playing the game, still enjoying it from time to time, but there's definitely a sentiment amongst our friends that... they've stepped away a little bit, honestly, for like mental health, because I think they were just getting slapped around so often. It was losing its pizzazz,
Losing its luster a little bit. But that said, we're still going strong. We're still amateurs. We're still going to get in there. That's the beauty, too, is you have friends that are like, they'll hate the game, then they come back to it, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But this week only saw, again, very, very minor updates. We had a patch on July 11th, which literally all it did... we had already seen a patch saying they were increasing the number of buy stations on Fortune's Keep. When I had dropped in after that, didn't notice a fucking difference. But now they came and they actually quantified it. They said a small update to increase the number of buy stations on Fortune's Keep from 10 up to 13. And I gotta say, since playing now, the buy station issue has been remedied, and I think it's much better for it. Have you experienced this?
I have not, but I'm no stranger to buy station glitches, so I'm glad that they fixed that.
Well, it wasn't so much a glitch. It was just I think they didn't sprinkle in enough, so we were still hunting them down. The other thing, I don't know if they increased too. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm finding tons of the mobile buy stations too now. So it's like the opposite. There's tons of buying opportunities on Fortune's Keep now.
That's interesting that if they were to take away the amount of buy stations that are locked in, I don't know what the right term would be, but the spawn,
like set locations, spawn points, basically.
That's it. Set location buy stations. If they dialed those back, and it almost was trickier to find buys, but they increased the number of buy stations that you could loot and find, I kind of like that as a concept. I think that would be a fun thing to play around with. It sounds like that's kind of what they're doing.
Well, here's a wild idea, which I know they wouldn't adopt it where we're at now, but a wrinkle maybe they could throw into new Warzone, or if they have this hardcore DMZ mode we've mentioned, would be like they have buy stations on the map, but they're not on the fucking TAC map. You just got to go out and find them.
Love that idea. I love that. This moment right here. Let's clip this because I think this is going to be one of those where we look back and we're like, we called that. They listened to the podcast. Where's our checks? Where's the cash, baby? Because we're giving you these ideas. I think it's a genius idea.
we've talked about the pressure sky high. They need some answers. Well, get your ears glued to the Warzone Amateur Hour, because week after week we're putting them out there. I gotta say, it's usually the Cowboys coming up with the nuggets, but Tron got this one off the dome, just kind of bolt of lightning, bam, hit me in the brain there. But
That's
I think
good.
something
I
like
really
that,
like it.
you motivate a team to go out there. There's this uncertainty. Maybe they make it where they do have recurring spots, but they're not guaranteed, so you kind of know roughly where to look. But I don't know. I think something like that, like there's a wrinkle to be found here in this ironing clothes board, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I also think it's great for a variety of reasons. I think it makes it a little more challenging. You don't like if you have to buy somebody back, it's like not as you have to strategize. Like maybe that whole, I don't know what that position is called, but like where you hold the buy station when you loot it and find it and you have the canister, like where your loadout marker is, like where those things are. It's interesting that you have to get kind of you have to be thoughtful about that. If you find one, it's like you hold on to it just in case you need to buy somebody back. And this would eliminate people camping buys and like making your life a living hell essentially, which good players will do, and it's a fucking nightmare. And I just think it's a cool idea. I'm surprised that they haven't teased that, and like tried that in variations of playlist updates in the past.
Well, on the flip side, you are making me think, though, could it lead to more camping? Because let's say a team finds it, they're going to be the team that knows where it's at. Then maybe they stake it out. But maybe they're like a one-time use thing. You use them and then that box closes and then you got to find another. I don't know, man. We could go down this rabbit hole.
I mean, I think that what would happen, though, is this, I think, is also in conjunction with having more mobile buy stations that you can loot and find. So it would probably disincentivize people camping because not that many people are going to roll through. They just happen to be scattered around.
Got it. So, so that's where we're at. In addition, on the patch, there's no real, updates of note. They fixed some collision issues, some glitches with the loadouts, like with buried treasures, digging. They fixed an issue where the AI enemies, which is so stupid, these fucking AI enemies. And that was the patch. And then I was like, okay, well, we still got the patch on Thursday, the main weekly patch. Maybe we'll see some weapons tuning. Maybe we see some shaking it up. So then on July 14th, they pushed out a small update to reduce the radius of the radar jammers by 20% on Fortune's Keep and Rebirth. And then they said, with that change, we're continuing to monitor engagement and feedback. And that was the end of the fucking patch.
Not a lot to work with there. Not really, not good for the podcast.
Yeah, not a lot to work with is right, which led me to the question, is this the stalest meta you can recall, like in history? What if you couldn't, what would you say was a more stale time in terms of like the weapon diversity and balancing and all that?
Yeah, I guess I want to answer your question with a question. What would the opposite of stale being spicy? What was the spiciest? Like, what is the opposite of, you know what I mean?
I probably would say like maybe the Black Ops time. Like there was a time when the AK was super viable, the Pharo was super viable. I think the Krig was almost in there. XM4,
you had the car obviously too was firing.
And you could still go back and run like the Modern Warfare Ram, the Kilo, I think even the Grau. And then the short range was mostly like the MAC-10, but I think the MP40. I feel like that was a pretty good time for the meta. I mean, in terms of the SMG, I think earlier, before all these changes, the season drop, that was probably the best we've seen there for that diversity. Yeah, sniping, as you said, shotguns, I think were sprinkled in at one point. So I think around that, like the late Black Ops era, I would say. But I think like this is up there with maybe like the FFAR meta to where it's just, that's all everyone's running. You're kind of running into it. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, this does seem like one of the stalest metas. I'm trying to think of another time in which like there was just like one gun for a long time. I mean, without it being broken completely, so it's not like a broken situation. I'm trying to think back to metas of the past. I mean, maybe
like the Kilo back in the Modern Warfare.
Yeah, it was a long time ago though.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, but it's both of them too. It's the Marco and
That's
the NZ. True. So it's like this weird balanced meta. You have to run these both thing.
I feel like the Kilo meta might be the most like comparable because that was a super low recoil gun, high capacity, easy to handle. Everyone had access to it. And that was it. So I don't know. We'll see where we go from here. Hopefully,
the Bren, maybe the Bren.
Yeah.
The Bren was a powerhouse, and you had to have it. And then it was
That's
the MP40
true.
and the Bren. Yeah.
So we'll see. What do you all think about the meta? You happy with it? You mad? Or you? I mean, I heard the M13 is actually like not quite absolute meta, but it's up there. It's made its way back up there now. I tried it out. It's good, but it's just the NZ still beats it out. So I was kind of stoked to hear that.
Yeah.
But it ain't enough to save what I feel like is going on there.
No, I mean it's a yeah, it's sad, but it is what it is right now.
We've talked about what's stale, but I think we need to take a moment to talk about something a little more fresh, and that is to hear a word from our sponsors. And just like we asked a few weeks back, if you missed us, or if you're here and you need another reminder, are you out there? Do you love the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast and feel like you yourself have a great idea for a new podcast? There's nothing that could be stopping you from bringing that to life today. Because if you go to Libsyn.com, that's where you're going to make it happen. Our podcasts, as we said, we're syndicated on Libsyn. This is a Libsyn-generated RSS feed. All we do, we upload the files to the UI, we do the description. It sends it out to all the amazing podcast platforms. It makes it easy. We even simultaneously publish our videos to YouTube as well. That's all thanks to Libsyn. They have everything you need to plan, launch, and grow your own podcast.
Wow, sorry. Yeah, I mean, as I've famously and on record have said, it takes three things to podcast. And Tron and I had two of them in the bag when we started, and we didn't know the third. The first was you have to have incredible talent, which it was oozing out of our pores at the time we started this podcast, still is. Second, you have to be able to edit and mix and actually like put together the audio files and make it sound good. We're both professionally trained audio mixers, so there's no problem there. But three is you have this incredible file that is just oozing talent that is like going to change the world. But how the hell do you get people to listen to it? Well, this is where Libsyn comes in. They make it literally as easy as possible to get your podcast out there on basically every platform you'd ever want. This was the key for us. We're not BSing. This is how we literally use this product. What else do you want us to say?
That's right. And your support on Patreon, all that, it helps to pay for our Libsyn subscription. But if you're out there, they have multiple subscription levels to meet your needs, your budgets, and your projected reach. If you have questions about equipment, all of that, they have expert resources out there as well. So, get on there. And as last time I forgot to mention, but please, if you're going to do it, go to Libsyn.com. And if you sign up, please use the code FRIEND, F-R-I-E-N-D. And what that's going to give you is your first month of podcast hosting will be free by using the code F-R-I-E-N-D, FRIEND. So again, Libsyn.com, use the code FRIEND. You'll get a free first month of hosting. Send us over your RSS feed. We'll fucking subscribe,
Yeah. You scratch our back, we'll scratch yours.
Next up, it's time, since we're here in the middle of July and, Northern America here, to say that sweaty sack summer, it's not just approaching, it's here. So it's time for you to prioritize the comfort of your crotch. That's why the kings of crotch comfort, which is none other than Manscaped, have spent 2 years designing the most comfortable boxer briefs out there. I'll let Cowboy take it from here because I know he's a big fan of these.
Oh, wow. We're talking about boxers today. I didn't realize that. But yes, and I've said it before, I love these boxers. They have like some kind of velvet pouch that is like where your man stuff hangs out. And I just love these boxers. They're great. They fit really well. They're just comfortable. I don't know how else to say it. And they're kind of like unique in a way that I've never really had a boxer fit before. So I don't always wear boxers, but when I do, I prefer Manscaped boxers.
Well, you alluded to it, is that these boxers are made out of some of the softest fabric of any underwear out there. They're so breathable. It's like having gills for your groin, and they even trademarked what you referred to, which is called the jewel pouch. So it's serious. So if you think it's time to invest in your family jewels to give your sack a little reinforcement, please go to manscaped.com, make a purchase, and use the code WAH. That is like the acronym for Warzone Amateur Hour. You're going to get 20% off and free shipping. You know, let's say you're on a date and your partner catches like the Manscaped on the waistband, which will be proudly displayed. It's almost guaranteed to raise some eyebrows. And it's going to be a billboard on the highway to Pleasure Town. They're going to know you're well groomed, you're well taken care of, you're doing it right.
Yeah, baby. Use the code, people.
WAH code at manscaped.com. Thank you all so much. Now let's get back to it. As I said, you know, the news pretty stale right now. Some rumors going out about Modern Warfare 2, but nothing too crazy. That said, just kind of a day or two before recording this, we had a Discord user post something on our Discord that I felt obliged to share because I thought it was a fantastic analogy, and I know you yourself, I think, will really relate to it. So let me pull up the quote here. This is from our Discord user named Dibs All-Star. I'm not sure where you're based out there, Dibs All-Star, but we appreciate you being active on here. And he said, honestly, this game is like golf. One day you can't miss and you think to yourself, I've got it. Long shots, close shots, movement. I'm finally there. And then the next day, it's all shit.
That's a great analogy, actually, because I think what makes golf such a great game is that no matter how good you are, no matter how much you play, you can never be perfect in golf. You're always striving to like be immaculate in a round, but it's just like that's why golf is it's so insane, is because it's like you can never do that, but that's you're kind of like trying that the entire time. You can always get better. Well, it's kind of like that in the Warzone too, and like playing this game generally. Like you might have what you think is like the perfect round, but really it's like there's no way to judge that. It's not like you can, you know, hit 18 hole-in-ones in this. It's like you'll never know what the best that you can be. So I totally agree with that. And it's I mean, golf, I play a lot of golf, and it's constantly changing from day to day. It's thinking about it when you're not playing. It's, you know, imagining what would happen if you did this or if you tried that. And you're kind of doing that the same in Warzone when you're tinkering with weapons in your mind and thinking about like how to play the round. Where do you want to drop? So it's I think it's a great analogy. You don't golf though, Tron. So I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, I don't golf. I've dabbled a little bit, but I certainly relate. I know a lot of golfers, and it seems like it's dead on balls accurate. Like, you know, some days you get out there and you feel like you're putting it together. All this stuff you've been practicing is working. You'll feel that in Warzone, like you're hitting the drop shot or you're doing the good movement. The slide canceling's on point. You're rotating right. You're getting it going. And then, you know, you hop in the next day and it's like a fucking different game. What happened to me? What am I doing? I hate this game. I'm never playing again. I'm selling my clubs. I'm breaking them over my knee. But it keeps you coming back. Seems like very much the same as golf. And the other thing I feel like, too, is you watch the pros play and they just make it look so easy. And you say to yourself, I can get out there and do it. And
that's a great point.
Sorely fucking, you know, mistaken.
Yes. That's a really good point, too. Like you, in golf and in Warzone, so many times you're like, I fucking hate this game. I suck. I'm never playing this again. Why do I play this? I say that on the links, and I say it while I'm in the war zone, and then for some reason I fucking find myself every single day playing. So
yeah, and I mean, we had firsthand. I did this week playing that exact experience. It was our first game back. It was one of those like in the chat, like anyone want to play? Like I guess I'll get on. I got nothing else to do. We're in Fortune's Keep. We're pretty low energy. We're getting shit on most of the round. But then Sparks, in the end of the game, it was a crazy circle. He's on top of like a hut with the final team. It's 1 versus 2, him 1 versus 2 guys. We hear the res. He drops down. He gets a double kill, clutches it out. First thing he says when that Warzone banner comes up, he goes, I love this game. So
that's how it always goes.
So it's so dead on accurate. We appreciate you out there, Dibs All-Star. We appreciate all our Discord users out there. As we said, if you're not part of it, check it out. We put links on our Twitter. I think we have them in our show notes most weeks. If not, you know, reach out. We'll get you that link. It's open to join. Those are our channels. If you're not on Twitter, check us out. I I got some videos coming out, so I think we should start pumping out more. That said, we have a big announcement here. Thank you all for those who stuck around. And again, we're going to be sharing this on our Twitter, Discord, all that good stuff. And we've been alluding to it. We've been promising more shit's coming. With the Warzone growing stale, it's needed more than ever. We are glad with the Cowboy finally settled in his new ranch. And the Tron little ones seem like they're all right for fucking now, fingers crossed. We are going to be doing our first ever live recording session. That's right. You'll be able to hop in. We'll have a link. You will be able to witness the Tronster and the Cowboy recording this thing live. And as part of that, we're going to be taking some questions, live Q&A from our audience. So put your calendars down, get your little crayons out, and set the mark. That's going to be happening on a Friday here at North America time. It's going to be Friday, August 12th. We're going to be targeting 9 p.m. Pacific. That time is subject to change. Might bump it at one way or the other. But with the little ones here on the Tron's ranch, got to get them down in bed. I think that's a safe bet. We're going to stick with 9 p.m. August 12th. We'll be putting links out for you to do that, how you can be part of it. But it's pretty much from what we understand is you click the link, you'll hop on, you'll take part. If you want to submit a question, you go ahead. Obviously, not sure we'll be able to get around to everyone, and we'll probably prioritize those from our Patreon listeners to start, but that's it. If that's a success, we'd like to keep it going. I know we also have a custom game somewhere in the summer going to be happening, but excited about that. First Q&A episode, August 12th. How you feeling about that, Cowboy?
Feeling good. Yeah, I don't know how to prepare for it, but I feel good about it, I guess. We'll have to get in tune with what's happening in the game beforehand because I have a feeling we're going to get some deep cut questions.
That's right. And I know we got a lot of burning ones out there. We got a lot of loyal listeners. So if you want to be part of that, as we said, stay tuned, get on those communication channels. Thanks for staying with us. It's been a rocky road. We're at a kind of a stale patch here, but hopefully we get some exciting stuff on the horizon in terms of Warzone, in terms of Modern Warfare 2. But that is going to do it for us this week on the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. Thank you all for joining us late this week. We appreciate y'all. We've had a good time up to this point, but I'm ready for more.
I agree. Let's spice it up, mix it up.
Let's spice it up, shake it up, get the wrinkles out. That said, we will talk to you next week. So until then, my friends,
good luck in the gulag.